Hey everyone! Today I have another really great DIY project for you guys. I want to show you guys how to make this really great Halloween wreath. There we go, now you can see the whole thing. So I want to show you guys how to make this really great Halloween wreath that can easily transition into a fall wreath just by removing the little crow decoration, and you can also put whatever kind of Halloween decoration you want in this area that can easily be removed. So this is a really great and easy project, and it's got this fun DIY faux barbed wire, which is great for Halloween and also just any kind of rustic look. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this. So let's get to it. To begin this project, we're going to start by making the barbed wire. So you're going to need a container for mixing in, and you're also going to need some Mod Podge. I'm using the glossy Mod Podge. This is good for using as an adhesive or a sealer, and you can also use just regular white Elmer's glue for this, but I feel that the Mod Podge is a little bit more durable and better for this purpose, so that's what I would suggest. So you're just going to scoop out a bunch of your Mod Podge into your container, and you want to put quite a bit. Then you're just going to add a little bit of water. The goal is just to thin the Mod Podge out just a little bit, and if you're using the Elmer's glue, it's a little bit thicker, so you might need to add a bit more water. And the reason why we want to thin it out is it's just going to allow our barbed wire to be a little bit softer and a little bit easier to work with. So just stir that until it's thoroughly mixed. I also want to mention that this fake barbed wire isn't my original idea. I did find it over on Instructables. I feel that I've just improved it slightly, but I will link back to the original Instructables if you'd like to check that out and to give that person credit for their idea. Once it is thoroughly mixed, we want to color this Mod Podge and water mixture into a nice medium gray color that you would associate with barbed wire. So I've prepared a gray color using a mixture of black and white acrylic paints and a little bit of water to thin it down so that it mixes better into our Mod Podge and water solution. So I'm just going to stir that in to the Mod Podge solution until I get the desired color for my barbed wire. And you'll just want to make sure that that is thoroughly mixed. Once your Mod Podge mixture is colored, you're just going to want to set that aside. The next thing you're going to need is some of this 100% cotton string or twine. You can find this at just about any craft store, but you'll save yourself quite a bit of money if you look for this at the grocery store, and it will be labeled as butcher's twine. So you're just going to pull yourself out a length of string and shape it into a circle the size that you want your wreath to be. Once you figured that out, you're just going to double the length of that string and then cut it. And you're going to cut 5 pieces this same length. So then you're going to take the end of your string and you're going to place it under something heavy such as a table leg or anything that will keep it in place. If you look at your string, you'll notice that it is twisted in one direction. So you're going to want to twist it in that direction farther. Then you're going to find the other end of your string and you're going to need to pull it taut. Once you've twisted it quite a few times, you're going to then find the center of your string and very carefully join your 2 ends together. Then once you're ready, you can let go of the end of the string that's folded in half, and it will want to wrap around itself. And this is how you're going to create that twisted wire look. Then you're just going to tie the very ends of your loose strings together to keep that twist in place because you don't want it to unravel. So now you're going to bring back your Mod Podge mixture and you're going to take your twisted up string and you're going to just dip it in and make sure it's very saturated with the Mod Podge mixture. Once your string is nice and saturated, you're just going to find one of the ends and you're just going to pull it out and get rid of some of that excess Mod Podge mixture. You don't want to squeeze it out too much because you need to have enough of that mixture on your strings so that it sticks together and the strings won't separate once it's dry. Then you're just going to take each one of these twisted strands and hang it somewhere to dry. I'm just using a little table with a garbage bag on top of it, and I'm draping each one of my strands over top. So as I said, you're going to need to do this 5 times, just like I have here. So once your twisted strands are all dried, this is what they're going to look like. So you're just going to set those aside and prepare to make your barbs. You're just going to take your string and start measuring out and cutting pieces of string that are about 4 to 4.5 inches. I used about 6 of these small pieces of string per twisted strand. It all depends on how far apart you place your barbs. So you're going to once again need to mix yourself up some of that colored Mod Podge mixture, and once again you're going to soak your small strings in there. Once those are nice and saturated with the Mod Podge, you're going to take each individual string and you're going to wrap it around your twisted strand a couple of times. You're going to need to lay these flat to dry, so you're just going to use the weight of that twisted string to keep these in place. So make sure that they're laying just like you see me doing here. And then if you'd like, add a little bit more of that Mod Podge mixture to the knotted, twisted part of those little strands, and this is just going to help keep those glued and stiff and in place. You may have to fix these a few times if your twisted string is moving a lot, and you can space your barbs whatever distance apart that you like. I would say that I'm leaving about 6 inches between each barb. So you're going to do this to the entire length of each one of your twisted strands. Once your barb pieces are completely dry, you're just going to lift them away from the plastic, and you'll just want to remove any dried excess glue around your barbs. And then you can just use your fingers to press any extra pieces you can't get off back down into the barb. Shape those more into a rounded wire, just like you see me doing here. So once you've got your barbs all tidied up, you're just going to go and take your scissors and cut the end of each one of your barbs on a diagonal so that you get that sharp pointy look that barbed wire has. And then just continue doing this to each and every one of your barbs. Just making sure to cut each end of your barbs to about the same length. So once you've got all 5 of your barbed wire strands finished, we're just going to need to take them and form them into a circle. I'm going to be using some of this jewelry wire to create a circle form that I can wrap my barbed wire around to help keep our barbed wire strands in that circular shape. So I've just created a circle using that wire, just twisted the ends together, and now I'm just going to figure out where I want my barbed wire to go. I'm going to start with one strand. I'm going to cut off that knotted end, and this is going to tidy it up a little bit. And I'm going to take one end of my barbed wire strand, then I'm going to snip off a small piece of that same jewelry wire, and I'm going to start tacking the barbed wire strands in place here and there, and also wrapping the barbed wire strands around the jewelry wire. I'm going to do this in a staggered way so that the barbed wire strands aren't wrapped in the exact same path every time. So that's going to give a little bit of variation to that shape, and it's really going to look like a wound up strand of barbed wire once we're finished. So just follow those same instructions for each one of your barbed wire strands. So now that I've got each one of my barbed wire strands wrapped around, you can see what I mean by staggering each one of those strands so they're not following the exact same path. Now we just need to give this barbed wire a little bit more character by making it look rusty and old. So I've just used acrylic paints to mix up a nice rusty color, and I'm going to add quite a bit of water to it to make it nice and soupy. And then I'm just going to use a large paintbrush, mix that up real well, and then I'm going to start tapping it on to this barbed wire. You don't want to brush it back and forth, you just want to use a stipling motion. And I'm going to do that to the entire wreath. So now that looks pretty good, but rust isn't all one color. So I'm just going to take a little bit of yellow acrylic paint and a little bit of brown acrylic paint, add a little bit of water to each, and I'm going to take my brush, stir that water in, and since I still have some of that rusty color on my brush, I'm just making a slightly lighter variation and a slightly darker variation of my rust color. And then once again, I'm going to apply it, and I'm just going to do it here and there. And then from here, you're just going to take a paper towel and you're just going to dab into your paint just to remove that goopiness and excess paint, because barbed wire isn't goopy looking and we don't want this to look like paint. We want this to actually look like rust. So just dab the entire thing until you feel satisfied and then let it dry. Alright, so now our paint is dry and this is looking pretty good. It looks pretty authentic, like rusty barbed wire. The only problem is that it's too flimsy to hold any of our decorations. This is not going to work. So we need to add a little bit of structure. So what I did, I cut myself out a ring using foam board that I can place behind my barbed wire, and it will be concealed by the barbed wire itself. Just paint your ring to match your door and it will just look like coiled up barbed wire, and that's exactly what we want. So I cut my ring to be about 12.5 inches for the outer diameter, and it fits perfectly behind my barbed wire. Now you're going to need to cut yours according to the diameter that you're going to need, because more than likely your wreath is not going to end up being the same size as mine. Once you've got your foam ring figured out, you're just going to need to take your glue gun and start strategically gluing your barbed wire ring to your foam structure ring. You really don't want any of that hot glue to be visible. You want to use as small of dabs as you possibly can while still using enough so that it will stick in place. So this is what my barbed wire ring looks like after I've got it all glued in place. As you can see, that circle is nicely hidden in behind. And now I can start decorating. So for decorating, this is really going to be pretty simple and it's going to be up to you what you want to use. I just went and bought a whole bunch of things that I thought would look really nice, trying to be very cost conscious. So the first few things I laid down, I got those from Michael's, and then starting with the black roses on, those are all things I got from the dollar store. As you'll notice, I didn't use every single thing that you see me piling up here, but I just used whatever I thought looked nice as I was going along. So when placing our decorations, we're going to be covering up this sort of messier bit right here where we wired all of our barbed wire to that wire ring. So this is the section where we're going to do it, and it's going to be sort of off-centered on the bottom. So then from here, I'm just going to start adding different decorations in different places wherever I think they look nice. One thing I know from the very beginning is that I want to use that very big white flower that you saw earlier on in my supplies for the point of interest in this wreath, and I want to keep that in mind throughout the decorating process. You'll see me add that a little bit later. So you just go ahead and do whatever you think looks nice, or you can try to follow along and do as close to what I'm doing as you possibly can. I'm just adding in my little crow, and I'm going to be securing him in there with a little piece of that jewelry wire so that I can easily remove him later when Halloween is over. So this is the part that makes this decoration a 2-in-1 wreath, and you can use it for Halloween and fall. Keep in mind that you can use whatever Halloween themed decoration you want in place of the crow, but I kind of like this little guy. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and I hope you really enjoyed the barbed wire part. That was my favorite part. If you guys did like this video, make sure you're clicking the thumbs up below, and make sure you subscribe to my channel so you're keeping up with all of my latest videos. As well, come follow me all over social media. I've also got those links in the description of this video. I hope you guys have a really super awesome day, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!